I think that if you're actually an individual and you're using Bitcoin right now, you're one of the early pioneers. If you keep it, you'll be insanely rich. If you take money off the top or you sell it, then you'll remember that you used to have billions of dollars of Bitcoin, but you sold it for Ferrari, and that will be unfortunate. And so I think that there'll be some OGs that will still be heavily engaged. But I think ultimately, the base network is going to have 10 to 100,000 big financial institutions that are going to be settling large amounts. And I think the network's going to scale in the layer 2s and the layer 3s.
Most people will sell too early, but those who hold their Bitcoin through the next phase of institutional adoption will be insanely rich. That's the latest message from Strategy's executive chairman, Michael Saylor. With fewer than 0.1% of companies holding Bitcoin in their balance sheets, we're still incredibly early. Saylor sees this as a once-in-a-generation window where individuals have the edge over corporations. But not for long. As capital-rich institutions begin to move in, the space will transform fast. And soon, Bitcoin will no longer be a retail-led asset. It will become the financial base layer for trillions in global settlement. And when that happens, the price will reprice violently upward. Make sure to stick around until the end of the video, as Michael Saylor reveals the ultimate strategy that could create the next wave of millionaires.
Every company, every family on Earth should adopt the Bitcoin standard, right? What is that, 1 billion families?
Yeah.
Every person on Earth should adopt the Bitcoin standard. That's 8 billion people. Every company on Earth should adopt the Bitcoin standard. That's 400 million companies. Now your next question is, well, is there anything I can do that's better than that? Well, there are a lot of other twists to it. If you take a private company, take it public, right? You add value. Now, all of these companies are competing to do something. The issue is, what's the something? And it depends on the company. So I think we're very early. I mean, not even 0.1% of companies are doing this, right? So, I mean, if you're less than 1% adoption, you're still pretty early. There's a lot of different business models you can pursue. So I think as a practical matter, everybody benefits. The early adopters benefit more. The more creative you are, the better. And if you're, if you're not disciplined in the way you run the capital structure, then you won't do as well. There are 400 million companies in the world, and there's 40,000 big banks in the world. As Bitcoin is integrated into the fabric of the global economy, I see a world where every major bank and every major tech corp, maybe a Google and an Apple and a Microsoft, they're all settling or moving large amounts of Bitcoin around on the base layer. Governments, you would think that the biggest users of the base layer would be Apple and Google and the US and Bank of China and Bank of Russia and Bank of England. I mean, to the extent that any of those things exist, right? If the nation exists, if the bank exists, you would think that Citi would be moving billions of dollars of Bitcoin to B of A, to Wells Fargo, to Santander, to Deutsche Bank, to Swiss Bank, to Bank of Japan. I would think that Microsoft will move billions and tens of billions of Bitcoin between Microsoft and Google in order to work through some, technical issue. I think I think Visa and any of the payment networks, they'll have massive amounts of Bitcoin. So I think that if you're actually an individual and you're using Bitcoin right now, you're one of the early pioneers. If you keep it, you'll be insanely rich. If you take money off the top or you sell it, then you'll remember that you used to have billions of dollars of Bitcoin, but you sold it for Ferrari, and that will be unfortunate. But and so I think that there'll be some OGs that will still be heavily engaged. But I think ultimately, the base network is going to have 10 to 100,000 big financial institutions that are going to be settling large amounts. And I think the network's going to scale in the layer 2s and the layer 3s. I think something, the Lightning network is going to end up being a high speed, high frequency, lower value settlement network that will stitch together 100,000 or 1 million websites or 1 million mobile apps. Or you could imagine everybody with a mobile app that has payments built in. At some point, they might go peer-to-peer. They won't do it on the base layer. They'll do it on an open protocol layer 2, most likely. So I think that there'll be a huge amount of transactions, billions and billions of transactions a day, probably billions an hour on the layer 3s, probably billions a day on the layer 2s. And then you're going to have the same number of transactions, on the layer 1, far fewer. And those will be $100 million, $1 billion type settlements, between the mega institutions.
As Bitcoin becomes fully integrated into the global economy, Saylor sees a future where the base layer is used primarily by governments, megabanks, and tech giants like Apple, Google, and Microsoft to settle massive transactions. Hundreds of millions, or even billions of dollars at a time. He believes we'll see 10,000 to 100,000 major financial institutions moving Bitcoin peer-to-peer, with companies like Citi, Bank of America, Deutsche Bank, and the Bank of Japan transacting directly on-chain. Meanwhile, layer 2s like Lightning, protocols built on top of Bitcoin to enable faster and cheaper transactions, will power high-frequency, low-value payments across millions of mobile apps and websites. On top of that, Layer 3s, custom payment layers built by private platforms, will emerge from Apple Pay, Coinbase, Cash App, Visa, and others, offering seamless user-facing experiences. In this system, billions of Bitcoin transactions will flow through layers 2 and 3, while the base layer remains reserved for high-value settlements. So if you're an individual using Bitcoin today, Saylor sees you as a pioneer on the path to becoming insanely rich.
Bitcoin, as we said, is hope. The solution to all these problems is never in the history of the ideology. It's in the science and the engineering. So why is it that power tends to congeal? Why do big companies get bigger, and why do the powerful get more powerful, and why do countries and nation states accumulate power? Right? Why? And then what are you going to do about it? Right? And I think, after you've embraced Bitcoin, if you think hard and deep enough about it, you begin to realize that there are scientific reasons why markets don't work the way you want them to work, and why political systems are dysfunctional. And then once you embrace the scientific reasons why, then you start to engineer a solution, right? And in my case, I realized that you could use Bitcoin to engineer better credit, and engineer better equity, and engineer better capital markets, right? And without Bitcoin, you can't. And the other people, they don't know they have a problem because they've never seen a perfect solution, right? So they're mired in an imperfect world. The two biggest trends in the world right now are digital intelligence and digital capital. Digital intelligence we call colloquially AI, right? But it means that you should focus on it, master it, figure out how to use it, don't be afraid of it. I meet a lot of people. I meet a lot of people in their 20s, and they're like, I'm working very hard. A bank analyst. I'm running spreadsheets. I'm doing this. I said, well, so are you using AI to do that? They're like, no. Okay. Why? At this point, any problem that I run into, I would go to one of a couple of AIs. I put it in deep research mode, and I would grind it. And then I would do that 20 times. And then I would look for ways to grind it against itself. And I find that it'll oftentimes do the work of 20 people that would take a month, that I can get the work done in 10 minutes. Maybe I can get 200 man years of work done in 3 hours.
Wow.
So I would be horrified and terrified if I wasn't using AI to do whatever I'm going to do. So if you're going to work, probably the most productive work you can do is figure out how to program an AI to do that work. It doesn't matter what it is, whether you're an artist or if I'm a podcaster, I'd be thinking, I wonder if I can take the podcast, feed it to AI, and spit out 100 different languages. And can I use the AI to market it? Can I use the AI to translate it? Can I use the AI to summarize it? Can I use the AI to sell it? Right? Can I use the AI to redistribute it on different distribution channels? And then I would be thinking, will the AI eat what I'm doing? Et cetera. So I would be thinking very hard about that. And then on the digital capital side, I mean, it's simple. If I live in Canada or wherever, I figure out how to get a government sponsored or subsidized loan and buy Bitcoin with it. If you can borrow money at, I remember people used to make fun of me. It was like, I said, mortgage your house and buy Bitcoin. The mortgages were 30 years and they cost 2.75% interest. And Bitcoin's returning 57% a year for the past 5 years. You could literally lock in, if you borrowed $1 million, you could make $500,000 a year with no work. If you did that silly thing. And it's not even risky. It's like, there's like zero risk. And yet I still meet people, the conventional person, wants to figure out how to pay off their mortgage. Right. So paying off your mortgage is investing your money in a suppressed government credit instrument that pays 3 or 4%. Why would you invest in 3 or 4% if Bitcoin is returning 55% or more, right? So I would figure out how to do that. I mean, personally, I would look for long-dated, inexpensive debt wherever I could find it. And then if you can't do that, then start a company and then sell equity in the company. And then as soon as you can, sell preferred equity or sell debt in the company or take the company public. So vocationally, whatever you're going to do, you got to plug digital intelligence into it. And then if you want to make money, find a way to raise capital. Find the cheapest cost of capital, the largest amount of capital, and convert it into Bitcoin. And if you're really good at it, then that becomes the business.
Michael Saylor believes Bitcoin is hope, the foundation for a complete redesign of modern finance. And once you understand the scientific reasons behind market failure and political dysfunction, Bitcoin becomes the tool to engineer better credit, better equity, and better capital markets. Most people don't even realize there's a problem because they've never seen a perfect system. But Bitcoin offers that clarity. If you're an individual investor, Saylor advises you to master digital intelligence and secure digital capital. Learn how to use AI to amplify your productivity, whether you're an analyst, creator, or entrepreneur. At the same time, stop thinking like a saver and start thinking like a strategist. Leverage long-term, low-cost debt to acquire Bitcoin. Don't waste capital paying off mortgages or holding weak currencies. Raise capital however you can through loans, equity, or public markets, and convert it into Bitcoin. According to Saylor, this is the ultimate blueprint for building real generational wealth. Would you follow his advice? Let me know in the comments. Anyway guys, if you want to stay most up to date on the crypto and Bitcoin world, subscribe to my daily 5-minute crypto newsletter. It's a concise resource for the latest expert predictions, breaking news, and top on-chain analysis, trusted by over 90,000 subscribers for insightful crypto investment information. Don't miss out on the opportunity to stay informed in the crypto market. The link is in the description below. I hope you all enjoyed today's video and that it gave you some value. I'll see you all at the next one. And as always, all the best.